our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't really win. Don't give us the road, don't give us your stink.
All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Tuesday. Mike Carver here with you, along with Doug Kazarian, as we get ready for all the action tonight. Of course, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the BetRivers Network. Great to have you with us. Big slate tonight. We've got some NBA action. We've got some NHL. We have got college football. Oh, I know Doug's smiling this morning because he's got MACtion back tonight. He is pumped. And we have got college hoops. We got some NFL to do. Trade deadline today. Very busy Tuesday. Hi, Doug. How are you?
You got the contacts back in. I had a little eye irritation yesterday, so that threw me off. But trying to get back on track. Been dip in the bankroll, if you will. Like lost what 3 best bets in a row, something like that. So need to turn the corner. It happens, you gotta. It's frustrating. Cowboys, a lot of empty drives yesterday, and that can burn you when you're betting the over on a relatively big number.
I mean, too bad with everything else, but the best bets, unfortunately, didn't get across the line. Everywhere else was too bad. Pretty good first night of college basketball too. Is that doubleheader in Vegas was great. You had most of those enormous spreads covered. I think the one that struggled was Auburn, right? Auburn was the only one who struggled, who had to go to overtime in that Bethune game. But pretty fun night of college basketball. It's back.
Yeah, and that's not a surprise given Bruce Pearl's gone. You got a first-time head coach, pretty young guy, his son. So obviously Bruce is involved, but still not the same. So maybe they're going to get people's best shots. Who knows? It's just one game. But yeah, there were some serious blowouts. St. John's hung the century mark, and Boise State goes down. So that was interesting as well. But you're right. College basketball is back. There are opportunities everywhere.
And Bruce just needs to just go in the student section every night with the shirt off. I know he loves doing that. Bruce is he's fun, and he just has to bring the fun to the Auburn campus while his son's the head coach. All right, let's get rolling here for tonight on Betting Weekly Live, and we'll start in the NBA. We have got 6 games in the association this evening, including, of course, you have the Peacock games tonight. Of course, 8:00 on the East Coast for the Magic and the Hawks. We'll talk about the West Coast one with the Thunder and the Clippers too. Why don't we start things off, though, Doug, with 76ers and Bulls. That'll be the first game we go to here. Right now, Bulls minus 1.5 at BetRivers. Both of these teams 5-1 to start the season. Big total, too, 240 flat.
Pretty interesting how both teams, right? You mentioned their spread, their records. Really, not many people saw this coming from either team. Kobe White has not even played for Chicago, and I like them coming into the season. I think win total was 32.5. Over was one of my favorite plays, but I didn't think they'd start out this strong, especially without Kobe White. But the Sixers have matched them, even when Embiid misses. They've been pretty good. A large reason for that is VJ Edgecombe, the rookie out of Baylor, to go along with Tyrese Maxey and some of the other players. For me, it's a crapshoot. And there was a part of me for a stretch that thought Chicago was a slow starting team and would start out, like lose the first half, win the game. The numbers don't really translate to that. So kind of all over the place with this game, to be honest. I'm excited to watch it, learn a little bit about each team, but I'd lean home team here. I think there's some late steam on the Bulls, and I think that's justified.
Yeah, I'm with you in that department. I'd like to see both these teams here in this kind of matchup, but the Bulls at home, very impressive. They have been there so far. So I think that's got to be the side that you kind of lean to a little bit if you want to. BetRivers does have a special for you tonight on this game. Max range, Tyrese Maxey to make his first 3-point attempt in the Sixers versus the Bulls, boosted from plus 110 to plus 150. So you can get involved a little Tyrese Maxey, who's had a great start to the season here over the first 6 games for the Sixers. All right, next, also just after 8:00 East tip in Atlanta, NBC Peacock game for the Magic and the Hawks. Magic minus 3.5, the road favorite here, 229 flat. The total, of course, no Trae Young for Atlanta, Doug, and that means probably trouble for the Hawks tonight, even at home.
So one of the storylines the first couple weeks of the season was how bad the Orlando Magic have looked despite getting all the buzz of trading for Desmond Bane in the offseason. But they ripped off back-to-back wins. Problem is nothing to write home about. Wizards and Hornets were the last two opponents, but still, you want to see them get in the win column. And the losses were all kind of excusable, right? Bulls, Pistons, Sixers. So verdict's still out on Orlando. Now, the problem here is I don't know about the Hawks. They have obviously Trae Young injury and some others. I'm on the Hawks here. It feels like the right side. I feel like they're turning things around and sort of work through some issues to begin with. But as we learned from the Laker game last night, be careful with injuries. Some of these reserve guys could be lethal.
Nothing like a line, Doug, that had the Blazers, what was it, -3 or 3.5, all the way up to 9, 10 in that range. And then they lose outright, Doug,
Right.
last night. Outright, they
Ridiculous.
lose to the Lakers, who had nobody in the game. That's why they play them, Doug, as they say. That Laker-Blazer game last night. That's why they play the games, amazingly, too. So the other game, which you'll get on the West Coast, on NBC, 11 o'clock East. So on my side, you can watch it on Peacock, is this Thunder Clipper game, which is very interesting. We talked about the Clippers a little bit yesterday, Doug, and how, they just haven't gotten out to a great start. Lose at home to the Heat last night. Now they have the Thunder coming in, who's, of course, 7-0. This is a big, fat number, -9 at BetRivers, 219. Low total. We haven't seen many totals under 220 so far this year in the NBA over the first couple of weeks, but we got a pretty low one in this game tonight.
Yeah, and at some point Thunder are going to lose. I just don't know when it's going to be. I lean to OKC because the Clippers are still working through their problems, as you alluded to. But no Beal tonight, looks like. And I think end of game scenario, they went through Kawhi, which sort of makes sense, but Harden's such a better ball handler, can get to the free throw line as well. I think the Clippers are sort of disjointed and need to figure things out. And frankly, for all we know, Tyronn Lue, the head coach, is sort of, I don't know, distracted by what's going on with the FBI investigation and his buddy Chauncey Billups. So for me, it's Thunder or pass, but Thunder are shorthanded still. They have a couple guys missing, so you just can never really get too involved. But I will play SGA's point total under. Now, he was originally on the Clippers, drafted by the franchise. He has said in recent interviews he does always get up for games against the Clippers, a little payback. But I just think he's going to be the focal point of the defense with guys out, with Holmgren and J-Dub. I just think they're going to get the ball out of his hands. His last 5 times facing the Clippers, he's gone under 30 in 4 of them. So this could be just a tough matchup for SGA. I know he can get to the free throw line with the best of them, but overall, I got to take the under here.
Is there a chance maybe that we're catching this total? Look, we've talked about how overs have been so big in the NBA so far this season. Just seeing this under 220, and I understand who's not, who's in, who's out. I mean, we saw a game last that we just mentioned, Lakers Blazers, with how many guys were out, and the game blew over. It got in the high 230s, 240s. So can we catch this on a low number here with 219? Maybe get an over?
Possibly. It's just the Thunder defense involved. Clippers offense can be a little kind of ineffective. I mean, for me with these totals is I think recent totals have been going under, right? And I just can't get involved here. I was on the under last night with the Clippers game. That went over. Sorry, the Lakers game. So I don't have a real good read, but you're right. I think over is the only way I would play now that I think it out.
Yeah, and I think another part of a lot of the unders we've seen recently is, I mean, they've been smashing these things up in the high 230s. I mean, some of these games have been getting real, 235 to 240 range. In terms of some of the totals, those are the ones that are starting to trickle under. Don't forget, also at BetRivers, NBA Midweek Live Profit Boost. Log in. Players can log into BetRivers app and will receive an NBA Live Profit Boost upon login Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Go to the app to see the details or on the website. That is the BetRivers NBA Midweek Live Profit Boost. All right, we have other games this evening as well in the NBA. Let's go to Toronto next. Bucks and the Raptors getting together this evening. Raptors -3.5, 237.5 now the total at BetRivers. Raptors off to the 3-4 start. Bucks play pretty well, 5-2.
But yet they're coming off a really emotional win, right?
Yeah.
It was Miles Turner's first game back in Indianapolis. Got mixed reactions during the video. That's a little puzzling, but they wanted to win that game to the Bucks. And Giannis had a monster game, including the game winner at the very end. So I think this is a good spot to back the Raptors. I wonder if some Milwaukee guys are going to sit, but I just don't know if their focus will be there coming off the big emotional win. I don't know if they get up for it the same amount against Toronto. I like the Raptors minus the short number.
You know, that speaking of Turner last night, Doug, because I did see the clip of him in the post game kind of talking about it. I like that someone finally says it. Like, usually most guys, Doug, are like, yeah, you know, I don't care. You know, it is what it is. You know, I'm just focused on the
Right.
game, or I'm just focused on my
Right.
new team. He's right. Like, I gave so much to this team. What the hell are they booing me for? Like, honest, because I wanted to make a couple more bucks and go, you know, they didn't want me, is basically what
Right.
he said. He's
They
not
didn't match
wrong,
the
Doug.
offer.
He's not wrong.
No, I know. I think they're all over the place, Pacers fans. And I think fans in general just want to boo more than anything. Once in a while, they'll be like eager to celebrate someone, but for the most part, they're ready to turn.
They are indeed ready to turn. Next, Hornets and Pelicans. And on the couple of sidebars here with the Pelicans, I saw Zion's hurt again, which just, it never ends for Zion.
So he's out, huh?
He's out, going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days, which means it'll probably be even more time after that. Hornets, actually, and the Pelicans, how about this? This is how bad the Hornets are in this one. They are 0-6, but they are 3-point favorites over the Hornets tonight. 230.5 is the total.
Yeah, I lean Hornets here. I don't know why the Pelicans are favored by this much. I guess they think Bridges is a good player. LaMelo certainly is. I'm not sold on Bridges. I will say the Duke guy is a lot to like. So it's Con Kneppel. For him to make 4 3-pointers is like minus 120 range. So I like that. I think he's been gunning, especially with Brandon Miller out with injury. Kneppel's been slipping into the starting lineup, and he's a usage guy, so I'm all for that.
Of course, get involved in the chat box here on Betting Weekly Live. Join the conversation with us down below. Cheers, it's Steve from Lynn. Got a couple of our regulars in here today. Everybody's pumped for some NBA action coming up here this evening. In the real world, the Raptors would win against the Bucks as well. The Amish electrician is here too. I will tell you, in that Charlotte-New Orleans game, Doug, this is one of those games. I ain't scared of whatever the number is. Up, and away for the total on this one. I don't care.
Even without Zion.
Even without Zion, let it fly. Tee it high, let it fly, especially when the Hornets are involved. And even though the Pelicans stink, they give up tons of points. Those other guys will score a little bit. I think it's a little light at 230.5. We're going to go up, and away.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Let's go. What else do we got this evening? The Warriors at home against the Suns, minus 9.5 for the Dubs, 232. Actually, I got it at 9.5 right now on the BetRivers app. A little bit of a move there. 232.5 for the total tonight. That's just after 10 o'clock East, that game.
That's a great spot in my eyes to back the Warriors. Now, the point spread's the great equalizer. You got to be careful with these types of things, but Warriors have coming off back-to-back losses, very bad on the road, really disappointing performances. Meanwhile, the Suns are coming off a nice win. So I just think it's two ships passing the night. Bet on spot for Golden State. Probably first quarter, first half are good as well, and probably a much better way to play it. But I think it's a good sign for the Lakers, man, and no major damage to certain guys last night that was, concerned a little bit when a couple guys left the game with an injury.
Yeah, so Warriors there, letting it fly. Why not? First quarters have been very good for you as well, Doug, in these spots. So there you go. 6 games in the NBA tonight for us. We've got a lot of hockey this evening as well. Big NHL slate. 10 games, of course, on a Tuesday night. Tuesdays are usually very busy. We'll start with the TV doubleheader, which will have the Hurricanes in New York at the Garden against the Rangers. This now, I've got, there you go, minus 122 for the Hurricanes, even money for the Rangers. The Rangers, of course, Doug, are one of those teams you really can't figure out. They're coming off an excellent road trip. They've been awesome on the road, yet they haven't won a game at home this year. They're 0-4-1 at the Garden. Carolina, the last couple years, has beaten them handily. They swept them last year. They won every game in Madison Square Garden. Hurricanes are the better hockey team. And I think you're getting them at a little shorter price. Actually, I just saw this too on the app. Minus 112 both sides now. I like Carolina tonight at the Garden, Doug.
Rome wasn't built in a day. At first, the Rangers couldn't score at home. Now they're at least scoring and getting some wins. So they're trending in the right direction. Do you still think there are legitimate issues inherent with the actual fact that they're playing at home, or were those more opponent driven? And this is just Carolina being the better team. You think they can handle their business at MSG?
I think if the Rangers were playing some other teams tonight at home with the way they're playing, I would probably go to the Rangers. I think this is more pro Carolina
Gotcha.
play for me because I think Carolina's a lot better than them right now. And you're getting Carolina. And look, the number probably tell you, right? Carolina's better. And this has gone down. This morning, this was about minus 125 for Carolina. And now it's down to minus 112. But I'm going to take a short price with what I think is the better team in Carolina tonight in that second game of the TV doubleheader, the Lightning into Colorado against the Avalanche. Avalanche minus 159, Lightning plus $1.28 on the road. Flat 6 with the over at minus 121. Two teams that like to play fast and loose, Doug. You know what that means we're doing. Let's go. Up, and away.
Over. Yep.
Let's do it.
Can't fault you there. So Avalanche have let you down a couple times here. You're still banking on them to get the over here?
They have let me down a couple of times, but I think we have the right opponent tonight where they can get back. You know what the weird thing with the Avalanche is? They've lost a lot of games. They're 7-1-5. They're playing a lot of these tight games into overtime, and they're losing the overtime games. But, even still, in the last week, they still have an 8-4 game, a 4-3 game. They still got some games that have gone over very recently in the past week. So they're still playing fast loose. But, man, losing to the Sharks like they did over the weekend. I don't care if it's overtime or not. That's not pretty. But we'll get Tampa in there tonight, and we will put some pucks in the net. Elsewhere, a couple other spots I like for you. We got this one last week, Doug, and I'm going right back to the well. Bruins and Islanders. Played in Boston last week. We got well over to 6. We needed the empty netter a little late, but we're going to go right back to them. They're on the island tonight. Same number. Isles are favorite this time, but we're just going to go to that total and go over the 6 with these two. Both teams playing lots of overs. Islanders always at home. Seems like a shootout, so we'll go to that one again tonight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, these teams have tendencies for sure. All teams do in all sports, but these teams have tendencies. So it's, I applaud you for spotting them out and pouncing.
And Oilers at Dallas as well, a game that caught my eye. Oilers did not come through for us last night in St. Louis. Now they're going to play the second night of a back-to-back against a star team, which I like a lot. They're a very good hockey team. They lost to the Oilers in the Western Conference Finals last year, lost 4 games in a row for them after taking the first one. They lost in 5. So you got a little bit of a revenge spot for the Dallas guys here. Second night of a back-to-back on the road for Edmonton. Minus 129 for the Stars at home. Money line action for me, Doug.
I sort of understand the logic there. Look, all the things you mentioned, but at some point there might be a little regression here. So that would be my only pushback. But, why do we think it's going to happen tonight? I don't necessarily, but at some point these extended trends can't just continue forever.
No, indeed. And Dallas, the one that did end the other night with Dallas, Doug, was, remember I think it was on Friday, we said how they had 5 or 6 unders in a row. We hit that under with them.
That 7 maybe, yeah.
And then they played an over the weekend. So that little under streak did end for the Dallas Stars. And of course, you do have a team coming in tonight in Edmonton that can generate some offense too. But I'm just going to go play the Stars there at home. Couple other good ones tonight. You do have Detroit in Vegas against the Golden Knights. Detroit's played really well on this road trip that they have here. Vegas is a pretty big price though, -2 Bills. Panthers are at the Duck Pond. The Ducks have actually played really well, Doug. They've been kind of spunky. You're getting them at plus 130 against the defending champs this evening. So kind of looked at that one a little bit. I kind of like the over with the Jets and the Kings too in LA. It's 5.5 at BetRivers now. Whenever I see those 5.5s, I try to maybe take a stab with it. I know the Jets usually play to the under. We know that, but the Kings have played more overs than usual so far this season. So I ain't as scared with it being 5.5.
I mean, obviously lower scoring games, but that 5.5, does that offset it? I mean, what does the season long results indicate?
Yeah, the season long results so far for the Kings have been to the over, especially at home for it. And the Jets, they're going to mostly be in the under pool because of Hellebuck. They're always going to kind of lean to that side of things. But I'm all right here on the road. I like Winnipeg on the unders, Doug, more at home than I do on the road. Up there in the Great White North, they shut it down a little bit more. Here in LA, we're going to take our shot here. Go over 5.5 with the Kings and the Jets. So lots of action on the ice tonight for us as well. 10 games for you there. Of course, if you like what you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios YouTube channel. You can check out all of our past shows, and make sure you also tune in tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, Betting Weekly Live. Of course, the AM edition joins Steve Wiss and Nigel Seeley as they will preview Wednesday's Champions League action. Little Man City and Dortmund going off tomorrow. So Steve and Nigel will have you all set up for that. Betting Weekly Live, 11 a.m. East for that. Did you get in on the Champions League today, Doug? I know we had Champions League action today as well. You got to get the soccer sometimes in the afternoon. Sometimes dip the toe in the water for us. All right, let's go. NFL next. As we head into week 10, trade deadline today, Doug. We'll start the extra point here for us on Betting Weekly Live with a couple of reactions to the past week, get ourselves ready for this week. And before we go to the NFC playoff teams, let's talk about the trade deadline. It was 4 p.m. East today. The Jets were very active, of course. Sauce Gardner going to the Colts. We had Quinnen Williams going to the Cowboys. I'm not really sure, Doug, what the Cowboys are doing, giving away a bunch of assets today. They made a trade with the Bengals early in the morning, too. Colts, of course, feel like they're in a good position getting Sauce Gardner, but the Jets were by far the most active team, acquiring a lot of future assets.
Yeah, it's good. It's, dare I say, a good trade for the Jets to get 2 first-round picks back from the Colts. They also involved A.D. Mitchell in that trade, so he's the guy who dropped the ball at the goal line going into the touchdown against the Rams that essentially cost them the game. Well, you never know how the rest of the game plays out, but that was a big one. So he only had 1 target each of the last 4 games. It's time for him to go. And Sauce Gardner, we'll see. I mean, I don't know what he's got left in the tank. We don't know with this Jets team sort of facing one-dimensional offenses because they're protecting a lead for the most part. I just think 2 first-round picks is a lot to give up for Gardner. But then again, you're not going to get that guy at a cheap rate either. So it just depends. Maybe there's a pick swap there and things like that favor the Colts. But it's a lot to give. But it also shows you Indy's going all in, right? They're not messing around. They have their second loss on their belt. They're 7-2. That was a setback, but they are ready to rock moving forward. Offense is great, but defense is what needed their attention, and that's what Sauce Gardner brings in.
He certainly does do that. Now, I think the Cowboys side of this too. Now, look, Jerry's nuts. We all kind of know that. I think we understand that. I'm not really sure how you could do some of the stuff you did. I just feel like it's a lot for Quinnen Williams. A lot of future assets when you're 3-5-1 and you just lost at home on Monday Night Football to the Cardinals. I don't know. I'm sure some of those wheels were in motion yesterday, Doug, as he tried to tell you on the ESPN set last night. But I just sometimes you scratch your head. It's got to be tough to be a Cowboy fan sometimes.
Really does. I mean, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, right? And what was it? Stephen A. left the box with Jerry Jones after the Ferguson fumble. I mean, you get the block kick and all that, and you're still offense just sputtering out. Not a good showing by Dallas in the offense, and they're going to need some help. We'll see if Quinnen Williams is enough, but Jerry always had something up his sleeve. He wasn't going to pay the big ones and Khalil Mack, all those guys. Micah Parsons, I wanted to say Khalil Mack, but he's kind of the, traded it, sort of that deadline stuff. I don't know. I mean, look, the Cowboys are going to move the needle because they're quote unquote America's team, but they haven't won since the mid-90s. They're probably going to miss the playoffs after last night's loss. They have some fun fantasy guys, but that's about it.
That is about it. And even some of those fun fantasy guys really couldn't do much for us last night. Despite all of that, we couldn't even get the fun fantasy guys.
But they did on defense. They let Marvin Harrison get nearly 100 yards.
They did. And Jacksonville got Jacoby Myers as well. All quiet in Buffalo. Would have liked the wide receiver there. I mean, Shaheed's a good player. He went to Seattle. Trevor Penning, offensive line, went to the Chargers. I would have liked to seen Buffalo get another wide receiver. I think that they're pretty thin in that area. So it's probably going to be same as always for them when it comes to January. Could have used another weapon.
Allen's legs, right? Those are one of his.
I guess that's what they're going to go with again.
So that's one of the tools in the tool belt.
It's Josh just running around. You mentioned the Cowboys in the NFC in that playoff picture. Let's talk about that a little bit off of this past weekend. It kind of feels like you've got the teams that are going to be there, Philly, Tampa, Seattle, Green Bay, Rams, Niners, and Lions. Anything change for you after this weekend, though, with that, Doug? Do you feel like some of these teams that maybe are on the outside right now? I mean, the Bears.
Our level of confidence has been tweaked a little bit. So the left side of the screen, the 7 playoff teams that we think will be there. Now, Vikings with a big win in Detroit, upsetting them as double-digit favorites for the most part. So the Vikes win as a double-digit dog. Bears are lurking. Obviously, Ben Johnson's pushing the right buttons. Cowboys last night was severe. Who knows? Maybe the Falcons go on a run, but for the most part, that's going to be definitely a tough travel spot and all that to kind of surpass other teams in this list. So I think the left side of the screen, I used to be 90% sure that was the 7 playoff teams. I'm now like 58, 60% because I do think that's the demarcation, and the records right now speak for themselves. I just wonder about the Vikings and even the Bears making a playoff move.
Yeah, the Bears are the team for me, Doug, that I still kind of am like, am I really believing this yet? Like, there's weeks that the Bears make you want to think that they're ready to kind of move themselves into that next jump up. Like, I'm pretty confident that Carolina's not. Like, Carolina's been a nice story. They're 5-4, but I'm not confident in saying Carolina's
favorites this weekend.
They are favorites this weekend, but I'm not sure that I could just get there yet with the Bears. Like, I still need the Bears to give me that one huge win where I go, all right, maybe I could start believing. Like, and it ain't gonna be this. Like, even whatever happens with the Giants, they beat the Giants at home this week. That ain't it either. I still need to see that win that makes me think the Bears are going to be with those bottom half of that 7 teams that you just talked about.
Yeah, there's not a lot to write home other than Ben Johnson's making Caleb Williams play fewer mistakes, right? Like mistake-free football or close to it. Defense still has issues. They've just caught the right opponents at the right time. And obviously that long pass against Cincinnati this weekend was extremely helpful and covered the number as well. So I do think these are the 7. I just think a couple other teams are lurking, and I would not rule them out. We're still too early into the season.
There you go. We are still too early. We're only halfway home as we hit week 10. Down. We're can't even say down the stretch we come yet. We're only at the halfway marker here so far. All right, let's go for 2 for the NFL. Couple games that both we have our eyes on as we head into this week number 10. And you just mentioned it. I heard you kind of throw that in there. You know, Panthers are favored this week, Doug. You did mention that.
Our Saints are pretty bad, right? We know they're terrible on the road. And then Tyler Shook's now replaced Spencer Rattler, who was no, franchise quarterback or anything silly. But Shook looked terrible when he came in relief. But I do know he'll look better after a week of practice. But this Panthers team's been pretty solid, particularly at home. Obviously, that's a big win at Lambeau. But they've been tough at home for the most part. Had a couple close calls, one blowout by the Texans of all teams. But I think that number's worth laying because I think the Saints are that bad.
They are potentially that bad, the Saints. I don't like Shuck at all. Shuck stinks. I don't know how much he's really bad. I can't believe they picked him in the 2nd round. I don't know what they were watching with him in college. So Panthers favored this week at home against the Saints. The Ravens trying to get themselves back. They are favorites to win the AFC North, of course, at this point, as they head to Minnesota to see the Vikings, who are coming off a very big win on the road in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm sort of torn on this game because I do think Mr. Hudnut, one of the flavors of that organization, they should roll here. But I'm just I'm skeptical of this Viking squad because I don't think they have it all intact. Now, with that being said, I may be doomed because I'm going to keep betting against McCarthy and eat my words because maybe he is better than I thought. But the problem is McCarthy's I just feel like it would take time to get game speed back, and I'm not seeing it. But then, he looks good, like that run for a touchdown, things like that. I just think the Ravens are on a mission. They don't have the best defense, but I think they should overwhelm Minnesota, kind of like the Chargers did, and the game can get away from the Vikes. So I'm on the Ravens -4. I don't love it, but I think I have to play that from this point forward, the Ravens, unless they get me off of it.
Yeah, the Ravens, of course, every week, every week's kind of like a playoff game for them now at this point, right, Doug? Like they've dug themselves a hole here in the beginning
Yeah,
of the season, and they got to dig out
to
of it
your
now.
point, the odds makers are favoring it, though. I mean, like they're allowed to lose like 2 games basically the
Right.
rest of the way. They have 9 games left, but they're $1.50 in the division. I think the Steelers win in Indy changed things as well, so that narrowed the money lines of the division, the index pricing. But I just don't believe in it. This is a bet against Minnesota more than it's a bet on Baltimore.
First one for me here for the go for 2 is I'm going to go to Tampa. Patriots at the Bucks coming up this week. We talked a little bit about the Pats yesterday, chances for the 1 seed in the AFC, all of those things, very favorable schedule. Well, this is a tough week for them as they go on the road to see a Buccaneer team that's coming off of a bye, hopefully getting themselves a little bit healthier as well. We talked about this is a big stretch for Tampa too. -2.5 at home. I went with Atlanta on Sunday in Foxborough with the points. They didn't get the outright win, but they did cover. Just feel like this is going to be one of those. I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop with New England too, Doug. Like there's going to be a week where they're not going to show up like they have the past few. They're not going to be this dominant team all year long. This week in Tampa on the road, a tough road spot for them against the rested team. I'm leaning towards the Bucks here early in the week.
I think there's going to be some regression. They've won 6 straight.
Yep.
But I question the competition since the win at the Ralph against the Bills, at the Saints, at the Titans, home to the Browns, home to the Falcons. Now, in the Atlanta game, for obvious reasons, was the closest. It was a 1-point game. So the Patriots are taking care of business. They're probably a bad, really good team as opposed to being a really good team. I lean Bucks here, and don't worry about it. You guys have, some time before you have to worry about the deadlines for this type of stuff. But I do think there's some Patriots futures to be had. They should go on a like the Bucks, I think, they're, like you said, they're trying to get healthier here. I think that's a play you can make.
No doubt. The second one for you that I want to bring up, Giants Bears Sunday in Chicago. Total caught my eye. It was 48.5 this morning. It's down to 48. Now, if you take weather out of the situation, which at the first you don't consider it, you want to go and look at the weather, but I'm like, man, Giants Bears, we've seen some points. Jackson Dart has shown me that he can score. Giants defense has shown me that they really can't stop anybody. Bears have shown me that they can score. This kind of feels like it should be an over this week in Chicago. But, Doug, the weather can be sometimes a neutralizing factor. They're talking about maybe a little bit of snow. That's right. First time I'm saying it to you, snow on Betting Weekly Live for this NFL season. But more importantly, Doug, high wind, a lot of wind, and that can play games with the total as we know. So maybe we look to the under before the weather report gets in everyone's hands by Friday, and this is down to 45, 46.
I understand the logic for sure. Now, I'm not crazy about the total here, but if that's how you want to play it, I can certainly get behind it. I would just say be careful. I mean, the Giants defense is really bad, but their offensive production can be limited, especially in this matchup, although it's not like the Bears are that great, but I think they'll be ready and well scouted. So for me, it'd be Bears or pass and no opinion on the total.
Bears and Giants. Like we said, we need to see the Bears at some point beat somebody in a big way, and we'll see. The Giants would not be that for me. I was just trying to see when's the next time the Bears play somebody, Doug, that we can get behind that. At Minnesota, home for the Steelers. At the Eagles on Black Friday.
There you go.
That is a big spot for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. A little standalone game on Black Friday in Philadelphia. That would turn some heads if they could play well there. Right. And oh man, that does get to. Then they go to Green Bay the week after that. That's back-to-back tough road games for the Bears coming up towards the end of November. All right, NFL Week 10, of course. We will continue to look towards that the rest of the week right here on Betting Weekly Live. We got college football as well. We're going to go for 2 there, but we can't go for 2 there until we talk about MACtion, because MACtion is back, Doug. Let's go, baby. Tonight, MACtion's here. Miami of Ohio, UMass and Akron. I think we got to go to that one first because you kind of dipped your toe in the water with that yesterday, talking about Akron, who's now minus 12 at BetRivers over UMass with the total 51.
This is the first time the Zips are a double-digit favorite against an FBS opponent since 2016. But that's just how bad the Minutemen are. They are dead last in offensive in efficiency out of 136 schools. That includes dead last in offensive efficiency and second worst in defensive efficiency. So Akron, obviously nothing to write home about, but they've been pretty confident and competent when Ben Fidley's their quarterback, the senior transfer. I think he can do just enough. I like the under a little bit in Akron. I don't think UMass can get going. They're sort of relegated to a random, quarterback situation. They've had injuries and whatnot. I think they're on a third stringer at this point. Akron should handle their business here.
They should handle their business. And as we know, UMass, Doug, they are horrible.
Yeah.
UMass.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, look at 11 and a half.
I had Missouri against them earlier, and UMass kind of hung around and covered. So that's my only sort of concern. But yeah, the stats across the board are really bad, and they continue to get injured, and the injury report's long. So they're actually getting worse, all things considered.
They are getting worse, if that's even possible, as you mentioned. The other game tonight for us in MACtion, of course, a tradition unlike any other. Ohio and Miami of Ohio getting together tonight. Of course, these two teams have been playing each other forever. They met last year in the MAC championship game as well. -3 for the Bobcats, 49.5 the total at BetRivers. I'll start it off here, Doug. I actually like the over. Believe it or not, we got to have an over on the opening night of MACtion. Okay, that's first of all, that's just a rule. It's just a rule in concrete. There's got to be a MACtion over the first night. And Miami of Ohio, believe it or not, they've actually been scoring a couple points. And even Ohio, the Bobcats, Doug, have been scoring a couple of points. So we're going to go over 49.5 here and hope that this could be our first crazy MACtion game of the season.
Weekday games with the other conferences have been certainly something. Very high scoring. I think the midweek thing plays a role, but you just never know. And Miami of Ohio is the only undefeated team in conference play, 4-0. Obviously, that's an imbalanced schedule, and they're going to play some other teams, but that says a lot about what they are. I think they are well coached. I think there's a lot to like. DeQuan Finn was hurt early this year, but he's back. Ohio's good too. This should be a really well-played, polished game.
That's what we'd like to see. A well-played, polished MACtion game to get us going that maybe we can get 31-28 or something like that. Let's just get tons of points and have ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, if you want those points, I think Finn can break some runs off, things like that. So you should be in good hands.
Let's go. Tomorrow night, Kent State and Ball State, Northern Illinois and Toledo. Isn't this the swan song? You're getting close. Isn't Northern Illinois shipping west after this season, Doug, right? Northern Illinois.
I don't know. Oh, that's right. They are, aren't they?
They're joining the ghost, the skeleton of the Mountain West when all those other teams leave for the Pac-12. So everyone's getting their licks in on Northern Illinois. They're 2-6 this year before they go out. Kent State Golden Flashes. Take the points or just money line hour. That would be tomorrow night. Amish electrician. So we will
have to ponder this. The biggest spread is Toledo, 14.5. So you mentioned that. What did Bowling Green and Eastern Michigan do to warrant a Saturday game here?
Yeah, that's
everyone
not
else
right.
Weekday.
You got to put all the MAC. I know there's a lot of MAC teams. I mean, where's Buffalo? Where's Bowling Green? Can we get these other teams in here for MACtion? It's just that's not nice. I mean, now next week they give you 3 on a Wednesday night. We get the Chippewas. You get everybody else involved. Eastern Michigan, can't forget about them too. So there you go. 2 games MACtion on a Tuesday night. All right, we got to go for 2 for this weekend's college football too. Now, I believe tonight, Doug, right? We get our first college football playoff rankings coming out tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Akron's going to be in those. I don't think Akron's going to make it.
I'm hoping they just get a couple votes, they're just outside the top 25. I was hoping that they're kind of just going to be still alive for that group of 5 spot, maybe when all things are said and
Well,
done.
Akron's banned from the postseason, so maybe UMass can turn things around.
They're banned from the postseason, Akron, for oh
Yeah,
man.
I remember correctly. I'm trying to think. It was like grades or something like that.
All right, go for two. College action this weekend, Doug. Start us off in the Big Ten. You got a couple of Big Ten here. UCLA and Nebraska, of course. And Nebraska now has all kinds of injury problems as they head west.
Yeah, the quarterback, Raiola, the Patrick Mahomes lookalike, broken right fibula. So the backup came in and was pathetic. 7 yards passing total on 7 attempts. And for the most part, they were protecting a lead and things along those lines. But this backup was terrible. I think UCLA, this line should have been like 5 or 6. I think UCLA is way better with Raiola out. I don't think Matt Rule's doing that good of a job. I think he's distracted. This Bruins team has some life now. Getting blown out by Indiana going into the bye, not the worst thing in the world. I hope they can recognize that. But it's still a situation where I do like the Bruins here.
I kind of do as well. And they've been pretty good at home since this whole, obviously firing Foster. You say Neuheisel. I know Neuheisel's just the offensive coordinator. They certainly treat him like the coach.
Carry him off the field.
So at home, they've been pretty spunky. And Nebraska coming in, and hopefully Rule finds something with that offense or teaches the kid how to throw, who had 7 yards last week when he came into the game. Indiana making the trip to Penn State. It's kind of all there for Indiana now, right, Doug? If they could just get through these last 3 games at Penn State, home for Wisconsin, at Purdue, they're going to go into the Big Ten championship game undefeated against Ohio State. They got to go to Happy Valley here. We know that this Penn State team has had all kinds of problems. They're 3-5 now. 14.5 for the Hoosiers and Signetti, total 49.
I don't think it's enough. I mean, last week Ohio State was 20.5, and then it got bet down to like 18.5, and the certain teams took care of business. Now Penn State is not good. Yes, congratulations to Nittany Lions. They scored a first half touchdown against Ohio State. The first team to do that this entire season, but then they sort of just collapsed. And that's what happens when you're going to have a freshman quarterback, things like that. I think Zignetti's a madman and on a mission. He wants Mendoza to get the Heisman. He's looking at an at-large bid, I think, if he's playing for that angle, if they lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. I don't see why this line's not 18.5 or something like that. It was with, the last game for Penn State against Ohio State. So this number feels short for a madman. Now, they did struggle going to Kinnick, but this is a different situation here in Happy Valley.
It certainly is. I'm with you. I don't think this is enough. I think that this should be more in the range of like the Ohio State game was last week. And I think that Signetti is now I think he likes pounding these teams, Doug, to be quite honest with you. I think he
wants style points, man. He really does.
He does. And he wants to make sure that even if he loses that Ohio State game, in the Big Ten title game, that he's still going to get the 4th slot and get himself a bye in the college football playoff. So I think the style points are absolutely going to be there for them. All right, go for 2 for me. I'm going to start with Mississippi State and Georgia, Doug. Now, Mississippi State won their first SEC game in years. That's right, years last week against Arkansas. They're 5-4, but I believe, Doug, they are now 8-1 against the spread as well. Mississippi State this year. They've been very good against the number. Georgia coming to Starkville. Now, Georgia on the road this year, they've gotten the job done, but they've been some tight ones. They had the tight game at Auburn, overtime in Tennessee. You want to say last week's kind of a quasi-road game, neutral site with Florida. Sure. It was a struggle. So I think a combination, Doug, of Georgia kind of just doing enough to get by on the road, Mississippi State playing a lot better under Levy, and the third thing, Doug, to remember, Georgia may be looking ahead to Texas next week.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking.
8 points for Mississippi State at home, where they've been very spunky and they've been covering all these games. I like the Bulldogs this week.
Yeah, I certainly do too. That number's attractive. Remember, I took some other ugly dogs in this conference. I took Kentucky against A&M at a similar spread. I think this is it's back-to-back road games for Georgia. Yes, they weren't they're traveling as well. I think I need a little more. I get a little worried Mississippi State's offense, but their offense is solid with their defense. I'd probably bet the over in this
Mm.
game more than anything because I think Georgia's defense just isn't the same anymore.
It isn't. They have absolutely been giving up points this year in a lot of these spots. But and that Texas game looms for me, man. That game's at Georgia the following week. They have Texas coming to their place, but still, it's a lot on the mind when you start to think about that. And the other one, I love big scoring Big 12 games. I love these games that has a chance to maybe both teams getting in the 30s, getting in the 40s. I've circled the Kansas-Arizona game this week, Doug, as the one that I think can get stupid out in Tucson. So this is 56.5 at BetRivers. Kansas has played in a couple of these games already this year. I don't think Arizona's that great. They've played a couple shootouts as well. Up, and away early in the week for me, Kansas and Arizona.
Go for it. I like it. I was on the over some games like this last week, and it got there with these K-State game, I believe it was.
Yep, K-State game got there. This is why we love the Big 12 has now had to take the mantle of Pac-12 after dark. Like they have to go ahead and grab all of that real.
Well, last week we had Pac-2 after dark with Oregon State and Wazoo.
Can you believe that Wazoo lost to Oregon State? And the game went, oh my
Yes, I can believe it.
We both liked Wazoo on Friday. We're like, oh, Wazoo. And then you tell me they're playing a home and home, and then they're going to play them again in Pullman on Thanksgiving weekend.
It's the best part.
The Amish
Pac-2,
farmer.
baby. Pac-2 after dark. It's Bill Walton, R.I.P. Glad he didn't have to witness this nonsense with his beloved Conference of Champions.
The Amish electrician riding Indiana all season long.
A very rich man. He's going to be a retired Amish electrician pretty soon.
Needed a quick boost last night. TCU versus University of New Orleans. Now, they got home. TCU took care of business against the University of New Orleans in that one.
That's a big nut. Big money line there.
That not good. Not a good scene there for that one. So college football, of course, we get ready for this week. Lots of other big games we'll talk about later in the week. Like I do have my eye on BYU and Texas Tech. I do have my eye on Texas A&M Missouri. And we will discuss those later on in the week. I see a lot of guys throwing some college basketball stuff up there in the conversation. Evansville plus 34.5 against Purdue. That is true. Number one, Purdue playing tonight against Evansville. And that is a healthy number, Doug. 34.5. Look out, man. Most of the teams covered, though, last night. You said it.
I know. St. John's, I mentioned earlier. St. John's got there. That's just a big number, man. But you're right. If the disparity's there, you got the best team in the country against one of the worst, then it's certainly justified. I just would need to know more about that. You don't want to get jumpy laying these numbers so early just because you're excited about college hoops.
3 top 10 teams laying in the 30s tonight. Purdue against Evansville, Kentucky against Nichols, and Texas Tech against the immortal Lindenwood. All of them laying in the 30s, top 10 teams. Do they all cover? I bet you one of them doesn't. One of them probably will just come up short. Right. They'll win by 29 or something like that.
Big upsets. I mean, look, Auburn went to overtime yesterday. Do you see any on the ropes at all?
I don't think any of those three. I don't think any of those three will be on the ropes. I don't think there's too many other spots where we could get something like that. Who actually there was one? Where's the one? Who I always like playing? I don't know why. Bobby Moe, Robert Morris. Yeah. They're getting a good number at Iowa tonight in the 20s. Maybe Iowa will be a little sleep at the wheel to start the season. Sometimes they can get tripped up early on. I like Bobby Moe. I love that coach Toole. He's very good. So that would be one spot. We do have one really good game on the docket for tonight. It is in Charlotte, the Dick Vitale Invitational, which will be Texas against Duke. Duke minus 10.5, 153.5 the total.
Called the Dookie V Invitational, just the way Vitale would always support Coach K and Duke over the years. But in all kidding aside, I've had the chance to work with him a couple of times. Wonderful guy, and obviously glad to hear he's feeling better these days. I would run. Normally, I'd run to grab the points, but I think Duke could be loaded. First of all, I love John Shire. I think he's a great coach. I think he's the perfect guy to succeed Coach K. He's got his guys ready for the most part all the time, and these Boozer twins could be an absolute force. So I think Duke is legit. It's in their backyard, all things considered. I know you want to grab dogs earlier. Like I was on Arizona yesterday against BYU. I'm laying it with Duke here. I think it's too much lumber,
You see, that's
or
a
not
tough.
enough lumber, I should say.
That's a tough spot for Texas to go into Charlotte
Right?
and play. Like, it's just different. Like, it's a neutral site, but it's not. Like, it's not like Florida and Arizona or Villanova, BYU being in Vegas. It's a different.
And I don't like their coach.
Oh no, I don't like him either. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
he's just not good.
Not good. Not good. Again, another team that always falters when it comes to tournament time. There's one other that caught my eye just now because I'm scanning through it all. Like I told you, it takes me a little while to get the feet going
Sure.
with college hoops. I've heard that Altman's got a good team in Oregon this year. I've heard they got a really good team. It's right now I'm seeing about 12.5 against Hawaii at home tonight. Now, Hawaii, I don't think that's going to be that great. It's just we're so used to seeing these games in the 20s, 25s, only 12.5. Maybe Hawaii's a little bit better coming into this year than I'm thinking because I heard Oregon had a good squad. So that's one that I'm going to watch tonight. I'm going to keep my eye on it, Doug, and see how Oregon plays against Hawaii late night on the left coast.
Yeah, that is strange. You'd think this one would be like 17.5 kind of thing.
Yep.
I don't know what to make of it, man. That's interesting.
12.5. Oregon. Weird line.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones, Doug, like you say, like you're seeing these teams for the first time. There's so many big numbers. It's almost like a slot machine. You're looking at all it, and then one kind of just sticks out at you and you go, what is happening there? And that's kind of what that game is to me. 12.5. That's it for Oregon against Hawaii. What am I missing? I have to dig a little deeper before 10:30 tip tonight.
Yeah.
And see what's going on.
You're right. Altman's usually got his guys on point there. Now they usually peak at the end of the year. So maybe they're slow starters and got the Hawaii flavor. But yeah, 12.5 does feel short.
It certainly does. So good night of college hoops for us. And we've got even more tomorrow. I know there's tons of games again on Wednesday night in college basketball. So actually Creighton's playing tomorrow night against South Dakota. There's a couple, well, that's the only ranked game, but there's a couple of other decent ones throughout the rest of the week. All right, best bets time and the daily double on Betting Weekly Live. We're looking to get back on the horse this evening. I will go to what has worked for me in the past, Doug. We're going back to the old reliable. We're going back to the ice. And one that I got last week, Boston and the Islanders up and away at UBS on the island, over 6 for the Bruins and the Isles.
Certainly understand it. Hockey's been treating you well, so I like it. I'm going to steer away from the NBA, go back to college. We're going the grossest game on the card, the Akron Zips, minus now 12 against UMass, winless UMass. So quite a barn burner we'll have in Ohio. I say lay the double digits with the Zips of all teams because UMass is that awful.
Man, the Zips in the daily double tonight. I love it. So the Zips minus 12 with the Islanders and the Bruins over 6. The Betting Weekly Live daily double checking in tonight at plus 248 for us, which would be very nice, Doug, because we started off hot. We had 2 in a row back. And now it's starting to, we got to get that thing back up. We got to get that number back up here with the daily double. So Isles, Bruins over, and Akron minus 12. Betting Weekly Live, daily double for a Tuesday here with us. All right, Doug, tremendous job as always. We will be back tomorrow. Lots of NBA. We've got MACtion again. We, of course, have lots of college hoops, and we will continue to look towards the weekend. I know we got Raiders Broncos Thursday night as well. Nobody could forget that.
Ugly dog there on the card.
Ugly dog of the Raiders and the Broncos Thursday night football to discuss. All right, Mike Carver and Doug Kazarian, Betting Weekly Live, of course, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the BetRivers Network. Everybody have a tremendous night. We will see you back here tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live.